What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of What If Countries Formed an Empire. And in this video we will be seeing what if France formed an empire. And for this scenario, NATO will be disabled and all other major alliances for this scenario, and France will be buffed. So let's get into the video. First thing France does is say, hey, we're invading Belgium. So Germany says, yeah, we're invading Belgium too, to take some land that speaks our same language. And then the Dutch are going to say, alright, we'll do the same thing. So here we see a big jumping of Belgium. This is what the front lines would look like. I didn't see the point of touching up on what countries invaded which. So, had the front lines progressed, since this would be a quick war. So this is just all that y'all are getting to see. So let's go and see this peace treaty. Here we see this as the peace treaty. Each country annexes their French-speaking parts, German-speaking parts, and Dutch-speaking parts. After this, we soon see France declaring war on Luxembourg, and they declare war on them. France just marches in with a few thousand troops and takes over Luxembourg very easily. After the march into Luxembourg, we see French and Portuguese forces along with Moroccan forces all invading into Spain. So let's go ahead and see this. Spain and France are going to clash out along here, since they can't really do much along here, along these mountains, and that's going to be really difficult. But the French are going to make some naval landings. Forgot to color in these islands. But they are going to take over these islands here and push into Spain a little bit more, connecting their front line like so. And Spain is going to be really weak here. They're going to be fighting a sort of like three-front war, sort of, until the Portuguese front unites with the Moroccan front. But I do think that this would be a very slow invasion. So it's going to happen slowly, but it's still going to be a decent scenario for y'all. So Galicia is actually going to sort of help out the Portuguese when invading, because of people wanting Galicia to be a part of Portugal. So they don't really care much. But here we also see the French invading even more, since the Portuguese are slowly distracting the Spanish. And they also push into the mountains somehow, due to overtime periods and the Spanish front line slowly collapsing, and they're going to make an encirclement here. Morocco is actually going to do fairly well due to aid from a few countries, but we will find out who those countries are pretty soon. Maybe some African countries, maybe not. We don't know. But Portugal is going to push more into Spain. And the Spanish living in here are going to be like, we're tired of war. We want out of this war. So they're going to sort of just make a small rebellion along here with just the neutral ideology, wanting to rule over here in like the Castile area. And they're also going to fight with the Moroccans. So here we see a peace treaty happening. Alright, so this is the new peace treaty, and we see Portugal annexing lands east of them and Galicia, and Spain, the French are just going to annex these lands. You can see it there. And the new Portuguese, French, and Moroccan-backed Spanish neutrality government is going to act like Switzerland and just be completely neutral for all wars. But this is the peace treaty for this scenario. So here we go. After the Spanish peace treaty, we are going to see a partitioning of Switzerland. This is what the partitioning of Switzerland looks like, with these lands going over to Italy, right down here. And this big old thing going over to Germany, and the rest goes to France. After this, we see an alliance forming against Spain. France. here we see this is the two major alliances, and they're going to go to war. So the Italians are going to take over all of Corsica very fast, and they're also going to be pushing in from the mountains here on the border between France and Italy. And Portugal is also going to push into the Moroccans here. So Portugal is going to push into all of Gibraltar's area. I don't know. But Spain's also going to get rebels, basically, fighting to join up back with neutral Spain. So they're going to pop up. They're going to take control over all their land pretty fast. Portugal is going to make a naval landing in the African side of this strait, and here we go. Morocco is going to leave the war and surrender to Portugal. Now, Portugal is going to be fighting with these rebels down here in Iberia, and overall, they just let them have it. Here in Ireland, we are actually going to see a major W for the Irish here at the beginning of this war. But here we quickly see the might of the old British Empire coming back, and they are going to invade into Ireland a bit. So let's go ahead and see this war. So they're going to take over that small little border, but Ireland's mostly swamp, so they're going to make many naval landings in here. And Ireland's not a very stable country from what I've heard about it in history. Lots of different movements in Ireland, I'm pretty sure. So they're going to fold to the British, but still be here, sort of, just holding out as Ireland. Just as like sort of like small pockets, even in Northern Ireland, they're gonna have some motion, but the British are going to try to hold them down. So France is going to move back into their old lands in Italy, and they're going to try to white peace with Italy as soon as possible, but they also don't want to lose land in a peace treaty or whatever. They don't want to keep their original land. So they're going to invade so they can get Corsica back. So they're just going to make a few naval landings along Italy, and they're going to be like, let's white peace. So here we see these are the new borders. Morocco is going to become a puppet state of Portugal. Nothing much is going to happen. Both alliances stay together, sort of. So Ireland's also going to leave the alliance due to them getting taken over a little bit by the British, with this little area getting added to Northern Ireland. So let's go ahead and see our next war. Right after this war, the Polish joined the French alliance. With this happening, the old alliance is going to say any nation France joins up with will get backing from them, and the French absolutely just ignore that, and they say, we don't care, we're declaring war on Germany. Y'all shouldn't care. They're going to say we're declaring war either way. So they are going to invade quickly into Germany, with Germany having a very weak military since they just started building up. So Poland's very advanced and large military is just going to come storming into Berlin super fast, surprisingly, because of how strong their military and nationalism actually is. And the French, they're going to make small gains because of how populated the Rhineland is. But this basically just says, hey, we're out of the war, we're surrendering, our industrial lands cooked. So the French are going to make naval landings here, and this absolutely sucks for the British. But they are going to be able to defend these small naval landings that the French and Polish are going to make, along with the Portuguese, who are absolutely distracted with absolute chaos as they're just forced to manage their puppet state and now forced to send troops over to France. But with this, they're going to use sort of Morocco as a baseline for transporting ships through Gibraltar. So they're going to pop up in Sicily and take out the Sicily people in there, and Sardinia is going to surrender over to Portugal and France, and Italy's going to be like, alright, we could surrender for a better peace treaty, we don't want to lose this war. But before that happens, they are going to have many naval landings happening, and a few Balkan nations are also going to send just aid to the French, and they capture Rome, and Italy surrenders over. With this, Britain just leaves the war because they don't want to lose any land, and they've gained a lot, but they will have to pay a little bit of war reparations. And let's go, that is our second major war caused by the German invasion of Poland. Let's see this peace treaty. This is the new peace treaty, with Britain losing Ireland as a whole because of war reparations, and then not being able to hold on to all of Ireland. So Ireland's going to become independent, and this is what these nations have lost. The French borders did look good, but then I had to mess it up a little bit, so I'm very sorry about that. But this is it for the French Empire, and have a good day.